Hi everyone, my name is Michael Schott and I'm going to teach you how to make a simple program in Python that incorporates a few different coding concepts: while loops, if statements, taking in user input and converting it to integers, and print statements. The program will allow a user to input as many integers as they want and then input Q when they are done, and the program will calculate and print the sum of the numbers, the amount of numbers inputted, and the average of all the numbers. This video is meant for anyone who may be new to coding or confused on these concepts and how they work. It will also be posted on my personal website, which you can see on the screen. Now, before we start, it is important to understand the concepts that will be used in this program. The main concept used here is a while loop. A loop is essentially a portion of code that repeats over and over again until a certain condition is met or unmet. So, a while loop consists of code that will do something while a condition is met. The next concept used is an if statement. An if statement essentially says, if something is true, execute the indented code. If something is not true, then continue. Next, we have user input, which is easily done with the input statement. Finally, there is printing with f strings. These are strings that allow you to print out the actual value of a variable rather than just a variable's name. So, now we can get started. Make sure to save your program with the py extension so that the computer knows that it is a Python program. The first thing we're going to do is type while true. As stated before, a while loop will repeat code while a condition is met. You may be thinking, if you're putting while true, how do you know when the condition will not be met? That's sort of the point of this loop. The user can input as many numbers as they want before they quit. But how exactly do they quit and leave this indefinite loop? Well, first we need to allow the user to input something. This is accomplished by making a new variable. I'm going to name mine user input, and then putting input some string inside the parentheses. I'm going to put enter an integer or Q to quit. Next, to allow the user to quit, we're going to implement an if statement. Now you already know that an if statement will execute the indented code if the given condition is met, so we're going to put if user input equals Q, then break out of the while loop. Now the user can quit. But what if the user enters a number? Right now, the input value only takes in a string inputted by the user, so we need to convert that to an integer. To do that, we're going to make a new variable called user number, and turn the inputted string to an integer by doing int parentheses user input. So, now we have a way for the user to quit, and we have a way to convert the input to an integer. How do we calculate the sum, amount of numbers, and average? Well, first let's do the sum. We're going to make another variable called numSum and set it equal to 0. After, we're going to say numSum plus equals user number. This means that the numSum value will continuously add the user's value to itself, giving us the sum of all the numbers. Next is the count. We're going to make a new variable called countNum and set it equal to 0. Now, we're going to do countNum plus equals 1, which means that countNum will increase by 1 whenever a new user number is inputted. So finally, we have to figure out the average, which will be done outside the loop. We're going to make a variable called avgnums and set it equal to the sum of the numbers divided by the amount of numbers, which is the formula for average. And now, when the user is content with their inputted numbers, we have to print the results using our f strings, which is also done outside of the loop. First is the sum. We're going to put print, and then f, and then quote, the sum of the numbers is, curly bracket, numSum. Next, for the amount of numbers, we have to follow the same pattern and do print f, the count of the numbers is, curly bracket, countNum. And finally, we have print f, the average of the numbers is, curly bracket, avgnums. So, to run this program, we're going to go to our terminal and execute it. I'm going to input 1, 2, 3, then Q, and as you can see, it outputs the sum, count, and averages. So there you have it, a simple Python program that can take in user input. I hope you found this video helpful and informative, and be sure to check out my website and blog posts, which will be linked in the description. And like and subscribe to support the channel. Thanks for watching.